Okay, I just wanted to take a minute and show something that I have in my collection. This is unscripted, so hopefully I don't ramble on too much. This is a denture that is over 100 years old. This was found in an archaeological dig and brought to the laboratory where I worked for identification some number of years ago, and I was able to gain possession of it and keep it. This denture is made partly out of a material called vulcanite, which most people know more commonly as rubber. But now the whole denture is not made out of rubber. So I'm going to go into that just a little bit here and talk about it. I am a dental lab technician, which means I make the things that dentists put in your mouth, or some of them. Dentures have it's always been the field that I worked in, not necessarily the field I wanted to work in, but it's the field I work in. So let's take a look at this because there's some things I find interesting about it. So if you see this material in what we call the palate area here, which would be the roof of your mouth, this is the vulcanite. You can see that book in the background there, that the history of dentistry. Now, I learned in that book that Goodyear was originally a denture company. And this is the material that was chosen to make dentures out of originally. And this thing is in pretty good shape. You can see that the denture was worn, because if you look at these, let me see if I got something to point with. Okay, so if you look at this right here, that is where the lower teeth were closing into the denture. So that lets me know that whoever had this did wear it at least some. And these denture teeth were made out of porcelain. And so they could have had a lower denture, or they could have had natural teeth on the lower, but that's what would cause these indentations in the denture right here. In modern dentistry, they still do make porcelain teeth, but they're being used less and less. It is my understanding that in dental school, they teach dentists that porcelain teeth are harder than bone and it's going to wear out the bone. I don't know if that's true. I'm not a dentist. I just work in a lab. But let's look at some more details on this. Now, this thing is made, and I think, see how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. And the pink gum tissue and the whitish tooth-colored denture teeth are made as one unit. And then they're bonded to this vulcanite here. Even in modern ceramics, which would be if you have a crown in your mouth, it takes a highly skilled technician to fire the pink porcelain and the tooth-colored porcelain at the same time. And this was done, I don't know the date of this denture. Obviously, they didn't put dates on them, but vulcanite was, I know that acrylic, which is what we use now, came out about during the World War II period. So I would call this at the very least a pre-war denture. When I started working in this business in 1997, I heard about vulcanite dentures, and I worked with technicians that had repaired some of them, but you didn't see them anymore at that time. And if you look at the inside, the part that would touch your tissue, you can see that they put a little relief right here, and that is to create suction to hold it into your mouth. Now, nowadays, we don't put that relief in there. they put kind of a shape back here towards the back of the denture. It's called a post dam. Which one works better? I don't know, because I don't wear dentures. I just make them. And I understand that it was when you manufactured these, you had to use steam, and it was a really smelly and messy process to make. But I hardly ever see anything coming into the lab that is in this good a condition out of the materials that we use now, which is mostly acrylic. I think one of the reasons for the popularity of acrylic was the ease in repair. Acrylic pretty much bonds to anything. And so now all the denture teeth and the material that goes around it is made out of acrylic, which is plastic. And even though there's been some improvements made in the durability of the plastic, it still wears out. Now the problem for this patient here is since porcelain doesn't bond, and as far as I know vulcanite doesn't bond to anything, they broke this anterior tooth off here, so this person would not have been able to get that repaired. I don't know, I don't know what materials would have been available during that time. I think this is pre-super glue. There may have been some kind of adhesive, and maybe they could have ordered another piece to glue, to cut off of here and glue on. When these things were coming into the lab, they were just bonding acrylic to them. One of the challenges in making a denture for somebody is that it's a rigid material. So there's no flex in it. And it's hard up against the natural tissue. So if there's any kind of little bump or anything in here, which is, which happens, it's extremely painful. And sometimes the patients don't end up wearing these. They do make flexible materials now. All flexible materials are some form of nylon. So just like a nylon stocking or a nylon hat or something, over time the fibers wear out and the thing becomes loose, and you cannot repair nylon. So maybe one of the reasons why these worked was because rubber's a soft material, and it was in between the hard porcelain denture tooth and the natural tissue. But like I said, I think one of the reasons we don't use this material anymore is because of the introduction of acrylic, which is easier to process and repairable. But now if you got a nylon flexible denture, also not repairable. So sometimes I can't help but wonder if vulcanite could not have been explored more as a material. This is an upper denture in the archaeological report. Even though I told them this was an upper denture, they call this a lower denture. The reason why I know it's an upper denture is because it has this palate right here. Here's a lower denture I made some number of years ago in a course. And a lower denture is always going to look like this because the tongue has to go right here. You could not put this in the bottom of your mouth. That was never confusing to me, I guess because 3 of my 4 grandparents wore dentures growing up, so I often saw them take them out and put them back in their mouth. So I always knew what an upper, even long before I worked with any of this material. But I don't have a dirty denture to show you. These are both clean, but But I'm just really impressed with how good this looks, considering the number of years that have passed. The person that had this was probably well-to-do, probably had finances of some sort. This would not have been available to everyone at that time. And at that time, this was probably being assembled by the dentists themselves. Nowadays, you have a lab technician and a dentist, and they, occasionally there'll be a lab technician in the office. But anyway, I just wanted to show this off. I thought maybe some people might find this interesting. And I wonder if, like I said, I wonder if this material could not have been developed further and possibly still be in use. I wanted to mention earlier, this is rubber and it's dyed pink. I learned from this book you can see in the background here. This is where I got the information about Goodyear being a denture company. This is an out-of-publication book written in the 1980s, an illustrated history of dentistry. Most of the images in here come from the Dental Museum in Baltimore, Maryland. So it's my understanding that rubber, or vulcanite, is white when it's manufactured, but then dyes can be added to it. So I don't know if you've ever scuffed up your car tire and you see a little bit of white showing through. The white is actually the color of the tire. The black is the dye. So if you have a white wall or white letters on your tire, that is actually the color of the tire. And the rest of it has been dyed, which is opposite of what I thought when I grew up. Anyway, I hope you found this interesting. If you like stuff like this, let me know. Maybe I can make some more videos.